Welcome you all to Simplifying Submissions, Artwork Archive's new, yay, call for entry management solution. Justin and I are so thrilled and excited to walk you through our new call for entry management solution. We're the first platform to combine comprehensive collection management with complete call for entry capabilities. This groundbreaking integration will allow you to seamlessly manage your collection and artist opportunities within one single accessible system. And a little disclaimer, this webinar is for those who are administering calls. So if any of you are artists looking for information on how best to apply to calls and artist opportunities, we have a wealth of information on the site, on our Artwork Archive site, including a webinar I actually hosted about 2 years ago about best practices for applying to calls for entry with expert advice from artists and arts administrators. And so my colleague, Helen, will share the links in the chat if you are an artist and interested in those types of resources. So best practice for applying to artist opportunities. We have webinars and articles on that. But this webinar is all about our new feature that we are so thrilled. It's been years in the making, and we're so eager to show it to you. So if you are new to Artwork Archive, a little bit about us, the folks who are leading this webinar. We began back in 2010 as one of the first online art inventory management systems. We work with artists, collectors, and collecting institutions all over the world for them to digitize, organize, and manage their artworks. And what I like to share is we are the arts ecosystem. And so the artists that create the works use us, and then they sell the artworks to the collectors who purchase the artwork, and then they may donate and then loan it off to the arts organizations that then preserve the artistic legacy and cultural heritage. So we get to have the entire ecosystem here within Artwork Archive. And within this new call for entry management solution, that ecosystem continues with artists and arts organizations working together. And beyond our art inventory platform, we also create a lot of free educational resources like today's webinar to help artists succeed in their careers and art organizations to advance their missions. So we have a lot of content for collection management, and as well as artists. My colleague Anna, who is on this webinar, leads a number of webinars for artists as well. And so feel free to join our newsletter and receive notifications of content that could be helpful for you or for your organization. We also wanted to learn a little bit more about who is in the room. And so Helen is going to launch a poll. It's going to pop up on your screen. We would love for you to take a moment just to answer the questions about what type of arts organization you work with, your role, and then curious to know how many of you are new to Artwork Archive and how many of you are already using us. And so I'm seeing the results coming in at a fast clip. There's a lot of you here, many from nonprofit arts centers, a number from public art programs, commercial galleries walking on in, academic institutions, a few foundations. And then the always curious other category. Number of directors here and program managers. And then the folks who wear all the hats, I'm guessing you're probably at a public art program. And this is great to see. So about 25% of you are new to Artwork Archive, and 69% are already using us. So we'll show you about this tool that you can access within your organization accounts in a little bit. All right, Ellen, you can end the poll and share the results so people can see. Maybe give a wave to your fellow public art program administrators, your fellow directors. Great, thank you for sharing that. It's just helpful for us too. So when Justin and I are speaking to examples, we can make sure that they really are tailor fit to you. Thanks, Helen, appreciate that. Okay, so I've done a lot of talking. I'm now going to hand it over to Justin, our co-founder here at Artwork Archive, to get into the why.
Hi, thanks for the great intro, and thanks for all you to take the time to learn more about this. We're pretty excited about it. And when it comes to the question of why we created this, it really comes down to a mix of two things. The first is that it's directly connected to our mission, which is to provide powerful yet accessible tools to the art community. And the second is that if for those of you that know us, all of the changes we ever make or all the evolutions in the product come directly from user feedback. So these are things that you guys have asked for, or that organizations we've worked with have asked for. And it doesn't hurt that our entire team is either an artist, collector, or artist professional themselves. So in so many of these cases, and this one in particular, we're oftentimes looking to kind of scratch our own itch. So with this feature, we were really inspired to develop the first of its kind integrated call for entry management solution after witnessing and discussing the many pain points our clients were experiencing using different platforms for collections and for calls for entry. And those can include higher costs, unnecessary complexity, inefficiencies, and other missed opportunities. So our goal when we were creating this is to provide an easy to use, feature rich submission management and juring platform for the arts organizations, and a really user friendly portal for artists that not only simplifies the application process, but also helps them prep for and track the opportunities they apply to. So with this, organizations can now create, promote, manage exhibitions, competitions, grants, residencies, any public art opportunities, all within one platform. And by integrating both the calls for entry side of things and the collection management in one simple platform, we're really striving to not just solve that logistical challenge, but we're trying to transform how organizations engage with artists and manage opportunities. And as Elysian mentioned, we want these tools to be as accessible as possible, which is why we chose to add them to our existing Organization Plus and Enterprise plans for those of you who are existing clients. And we'll continue to provide a 30% off lifetime discount for all of the nonprofits, academic, and governmental institutions we work with. One more quick note before we get into the what. I mentioned that feedback thing at the start, how we process client feedback, and wanted to circle back for a second. With all past releases we've ever done, we usually spend the first few weeks after launch gathering feedback on how we can make this even better. So please do not hesitate to let us know and communicate either via in a chat or email or however you want to on how we can continue to improve things, because we're going to be using all that feedback to help with version 2, which we hope to have in a month. I'm already seeing questions come into the Q&A with some requests for things that we can consider, so that's great. I will turn it back over to you, Alicia.
Okay, great. Thanks, Justin. I introduced Justin and introduced myself. With 70% of you being Artwork Archive clients, you're probably used to my face. I'm the head of partnerships. I do a lot of education for collection management. So thrilled to walk you through our call for entry solution. Just want to give you a roadmap before I jump into the platform. We're going to start off with creating a call. Then I'm going to show you how you can boost the marketing of your opportunity with our calls for entry page. Many of you may not know, we have a calls for entry page that's been up for years, where hundreds of thousands of artists go to find their next opportunity. Then Justin is going to show us what it looks like on the artist side when it comes to applying. Then I'm going to jump back into the account and walk you through how to manage the call, including communicating with artists, jury rooms, and then the selection process. And then lastly, since the call for entry tool is in your Artwork Archive account, I'll show you how you can quickly copy over selected artworks and move it into your inventory. So then it's easier for you to create exhibitions, keep detailed artist records, preserve your archive, and then bring it online with our web publishing tool. So with the public profile and the website embed. So no more manual copying over or exports from your submission platforms that you may already be using. Okay, Ta-da! Welcome to Calls for Entry. As Justin said, if you are in an organization plus or enterprise plan, you will now see it on your left-hand nav, on the left-hand menu. When I am showing you a demo account, so you can see a few examples that we have populated for this demonstration. What's great is that you are now building out an archive. So if there's any inquiries of past shows, you have a new teammate that needs to be onboarded, they can quickly go to one place and see all of the submissions. If you are running exhibition calls, competition calls, public art proposals, grants, etc., you can also filter by the event type. We offer support for free and paid calls, so you can filter by that. And you can also filter by deadlines. And then, like the Artwork Archive platform, for those that are acquainted with us, easy sorting so you can view the information in the order that you wish. Before creating a call, I'm just going to show you what one looks like. Many of us are visual people. Sometimes I feel like it's helpful to have this in my brain before going into creating something. So this is a call for an exhibition that was created within the Artwork Archive platform and then published. And so this is what an artist would see if they clicked onto the link, if they found it on our calls for entry page or wherever you are marketing it to. You can see the type, the geography, so you can have geographical boundaries if it's for your region or if it's international. The description about the show, the exhibition, the opportunity. If you have any award info, you can include that. Eligibility criteria is a section that you can complete for them to be knowledgeable of, along with application requirements and the ever important rules and terms. And then when they click into submit a call, which Justin will show us, they're brought to the form and they can answer questions, any additional questions that you have included in the call, attach images, etc. But I am getting ahead of myself. So let's go and create a call. I'm going to go back to the calls for entry. I'm going to click new call. Here is where you can give it a title. The image that you are going to use to market the call. And then this checkbox is when you are ready to publish it and make it public for people to apply to, you'll want to check this box. When it is unchecked, it's in draft form for you to work on. Maybe you're working with colleagues or you're just getting it started and you're going to add some finishing details later. The contact information. You'll note that the submission deadline is mandatory, that little asterisk. And a note to the right, you can set your time zone and submissions will end at 11:59 p.m. on the day and time zone that you have selected. Notification dates, events, start and end date. For those that are using Artwork Archive, this is probably looking familiar, right? Because it's very similar to the other forms when you're creating a piece within Artwork Archive. So we want to make sure this is as easy as possible to use, just like the rest of our platform. If your exhibition has an award, you can include that as well and have the award info like you saw very quickly when I showed the example. If this is a paid call, then you can set up the parameters for that, include the fee. We have, and when you click into this, this link, we have terms because free calls that you post within Artwork Archive are free. There's no additional fee on your end for creating them, promoting them, managing them within Artwork Archive. For paid calls, there is a small fee on that. And you'll notice when you click into our terms, that we outline this. I'm not going to get into the weeds. If you're curious, you can click to learn more about how we collect the fees for you and what the fee breakdown and payout policy is. You'll notice that it is very, again, accessible and competitive with the other submission platforms out there, making it really affordable for you to host your paid calls. And if you have any questions about that, happy to dive into it. But I'm just going over how to create a call. So touching upon each thing quite quickly and lightly. Here's where you can decide what type of opportunity it is that you are hosting. The geographic requirements, like I mentioned, we work with a lot of public art programs that may be looking for just their the area within their municipality, their region, their state, hospitals that are looking for local artists. So you can set those requirements. And then here are your open fields for the description of the call, the eligibility criteria, the application requirements, the rules and terms. And then important to note is that for many of you, you may be requesting additional documentation from the artists, right? So in addition to the images that they submit to the application, they may also be submitting artist statements, a budget, a CV, a statement about the interest within the project. And so by typing out, please provide a CV, they'll see that that is part of the application, and they'll be able to attach that CV to the application for you to review upon submission. You can also, many of you have additional questions that you may be asking in relation to the opportunity. So this is where you can ask them, what inspired you to apply to this call? Please tell us if the installation of your artwork has any technical requirements, whatever it may be. So you can add these additional questions for applicants to complete within the call when they submit. And one thing to note, as I go back to our call for entry list, you'll see what is published and what is live versus what has not yet been published. And then when it is published, you probably have, your own marketing channels. You might be sending it out to newsletter, putting it out in social. One additional bonus is that all calls that are created within your artwork archive account are then hosted on our call for entry page that we've had for a while. You might have seen that on our blog every month we have monthly calls coming up for our artists. We include this in our newsletter, on social, and we have, as you can see, over 300 artists that come to Artwork Archive looking for opportunities, and they appreciate this curated list. And so your opportunity will be listed here. And then the filters that you have been providing for the call are also filters that they can view by. So if they're interested in, say, grants and fellowships, they're working within craft or traditional arts, they're looking for their own opportunities within their own state, by submission deadlines, what's coming up for the next month or two as they're planning out. Yes, a number of filters for them to find. And they can see if there's any free calls. So it's just one extra bonus of using Artwork Archive. It's really easy to use. It's synced within your art collection management system, but also you get this additional marketing exposure to artists all over the world. And so whether you're looking for more artists, next door or abroad, you can reach them and boost discoverability of your event. And then Justin, I'm going to let you jump on in and start driving for when it comes to what the artist sees when they do apply.
Okay, I am answering questions like a fire hose right now. It is amazing how many great questions we're getting and great feedback already.
Firefighter hat on, perhaps. That's what we should have given you for this presentation.
I did not anticipate this much engagement, so it is great. Can you see my screen okay?
Helen,
Are you able to see my screen okay, Helen?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go through this really quickly. You know, the goal with this was to make it as easy to use for an artist as possible and not such an onerous process. So when you guys have posted the opportunity, they'll be able to click this submit to a call. Now that may be a link from your own website or something on our calls for entries and opportunities page that they saw. Once they do that, in the event they don't have an existing artwork archive account, which we anticipate to be the case for a lot of people, they're able to quickly enter some basic information and then get started with the application process. So in the event they're coming in there and this is the first application they're applying for, they can click continue the submission, and then they can start reading your application requirements, the eligibility information, and start to fill out information for submitting to the call. So if you included questions, as Lycian mentioned, they'll see those questions listed here. They're able to punch in their answers. And at any time they're going through this, because you know people don't necessarily have dedicated time to set to this, maybe they get interrupted, they're always able to save their progress and return back to it. So once they answer the questions and have read all of the requirements, they can upload artwork directly to the submission. And once again, maybe they add one and then they want to do some soul searching on which pieces they feel will best represent them for the application and want to add things later. They can save things as a draft and always update their application. So once they've submitted things or saved things as a draft, let's say you're ready to go and are ready to complete your submission. Perhaps you guys required that they also include a CV or a budget or some other attachment. They're able to do that at the last step. And then when ready, they have the option to either edit one last time, make any final touches to it, or to submit the call. And one of the things we've built into this when they're ready to submit the call is this little checklist, because this is a one-way submission. This gives the artist an opportunity to see if there's anything that they're missing before submitting, and that will appear with a red X instead of a green X, and then click submit. They'll get a notification that that submission has been completed successfully and they're finished. One last neat thing for the artist is over time, in their account, they're able to go refer back and see all of the previous calls they've ever submitted before. So it's something that they can, you know, check out if they want to say, hey, did this get submitted? What's the status of this, etc. And Lycian, you can take back over, and I'm going to go back to trying to answer the 27 questions that occurred during me speaking.
Great. Helen, can you see my screen now?
Yes. Yep.
Thanks, Helen. Yeah, and one thing to just emphasize on what you shared, Justin, is that we have artists using the Artwork Archive platform for their own art business, and ease of use is so important for them. And so we want to make sure that it's very easy for them to submit to your call, so that you don't have as much admin on your end answering questions about submissions and the application, and that so that you can have more completion rates and a higher completion rate and have more artists applying to your calls. It's a good problem to have. Now, the artist has applied to the call, it is closed, and it is time to review the submissions. I'm going to click back into New Perspectives to show you how you can review the submissions. And I will pause and say, I believe Justin mentioned this earlier, but when we were developing this feature, we talked a lot to our clients and to a lot of arts organizations to understand your pain points, the opportunities, how you are managing the calls. And there's a lot of overlap to which this is fitted for. And so, as Justin said, any feedback, if there's anything that I'm going through within your process, please let us know as we continue to develop this feature. So you'll be able to review the submissions, as you can see in this file folder, submissions. You'll also be able to review by the artwork. But I'm going to click into submission so I can see who has submitted. Right now, you're looking at submissions that have already started to be reviewed. If this had just closed, then all of the statuses would be to review, and they wouldn't have ratings yet. They would all be fresh and ready for your review. So I can see who submitted. I'm going to click into Melanie. I see her email. I see the artworks that she has submitted to this show. Perhaps we asked for 5 images. And then I see the answers to the questions that we posed. She does have technical requirements for her artworks. We requested an image list, a proposal, an artist statement, a resume. So she has included all of that. And just like additional files within Artwork Archive, you can view it, download it, or you can copy the URL if you have to send it off to someone else. When you are reviewing, you'll see that there's a few options. We have declined, maybe, and accepted. Declined is really helpful for if you are using a jury for this opportunity. Perhaps you as the arts administrator want to go in and do a first pass and decline all the folks that did not meet the eligibility criteria and did not submit to the guidelines. So that when you decline those folks, they won't show up in the jury room for your jury. And some of you are just doing this by yourself, so you can just go in and start accepting and declining to your heart's content. And then we have the good old maybe if things need more conversation. If you are utilizing a jury, you'll see that as folks are providing their ratings, you'll see the average rating that's coming from the jury room. You'll see what each juror ranked the submission as. And then you'll also see their notes, and I'll show you a jury room so that you can see what that looks like. And you as the admin are able to see this. The juror only has access to what they have rated and their notes because you don't want to sway them. You can also view by artwork. And so let's click into 1234. I can click in. Learn more about the piece. And if you are not accepting by, say, the artist, or rather you are looking at the artist submission, but you are also considering what artworks of theirs they have submitted for the show, and you're going to pick 3 out of the 5, then you can accept the artworks too at the artwork level, as you can see here. You can also provide award info. Best in show. If I click back out to Melanie and back to the submissions, one thing to call out is that one of the things that we did to lighten the load to make it really easy for you to manage these submissions is that making communication really easy. So when an artist completes their submission, they receive a thank you, we have received your submission. And then after that, throughout the review process, if you need to send a note on progress. The jury is reviewing, the selection committee is reviewing all applications. Thank you for submitting. Or you want to send an email to those that have been accepted. You can do that. So maybe we're sending an email to those that are accepted. Subject, message. And once you send that message, you'll have an email history. So it's been a busy week. You can't remember if you sent an email to everyone who has been accepted into the show. You can go back and see that you indeed did send that email. You can cross it off your to-do list. You can export the submissions at any time to a spreadsheet, which will also include the answers to questions. So if you want a spreadsheet as well to manipulate and look through, you have access to that. Just like within other features of the platform, you can export your data at any time. I mentioned earlier that you can also view the artworks. You can view the submissions at the artwork level. So you can do that by clicking into the artist and then into their artworks, or you can look at the artworks. Again, statuses, you can filter by award, were they awarded? It's winter here in Denver. I'm missing some boats, so I'll click into this piece so you can see it. A work by Gilda Kent. And then this is her submission. I'm going to click back to the exhibition to talk about the jury room. So for many of you, you may just be managing this column, right? And you are determining who you are selecting for this opportunity. If you utilize jurors, then what's great is you can have this collaboration, all virtual if you wish. Just like with other tools at Artwork Archive, like private rooms, collaboration is very easy online and can be asynchronous if you wish. So if I scroll down, you'll see that you can add jurors to the opportunity here. And so we've added Helen, our wonderful teammate, to be a juror. They do not need an Artwork Archive account to access the jury room. They just enter their email after they've been invited. And then they will see the submissions. Let's click into Sophia. They will see the artwork submitted, just like your view, right? And this is where they can enter their rating and they can enter notes. Right now, I'm showing the jury room from the admin side. The jurors will not see everyone else's notes. They'll only have access to their own rating and their own notes section, which they submit. And then you can see on the admin side. The jury room looks very similar for the jurors as what you are seeing on the admin side. They see the artwork submitted, the answers to the questions, the files, everything that they're supposed to review when it comes to the submission. Alrighty. So that is, at a glance, how you can manage the submission for your own workflow. We wanted to make it as flexible and as easy as possible so it can fit within your workflow and make it work. One thing that this is like the linchpin, or what makes this so different from other submission platforms, is that you have access to all of the calls within call for entry. When they are in here, the pieces that are submitted do not count to your total piece count within your Artwork Archive account. If you have the enterprise plan, which has unlimited, you don't even have to think about it. But if you're on your plus plan, the thing to note here is that when they're in submissions, they don't count towards your piece count. But if you want to actively start using them, if you want to create an exhibition, a virtual exhibition, or start managing the exhibition from the collection management side of the platform, you can easily copy the artworks into the collection management side of your account. So as you can see, you can copy all artworks. Maybe you do want access to all the submitted artworks because the folks who submitted and weren't accepted may be great for a future potential show. And so you want to have them in your collection management platform, or you just want to copy all of the accepted artworks. Once they have copied over, then you can use them. So you can filter by the calls. You can create an exhibition. Let's use test or webinar. Scroll on down so you can see. For many of you that have been using our exhibition tool, now it's even easier for you to make your artist opportunities manageable within your account. And so when you assign pieces and go into your filters, which are everywhere, you know, when you're creating private rooms, exhibitions, reports, you can filter by the call. And so now you can pull over all of those accepted artworks from the New Perspectives show. Now the artists are in your contacts. And so if I go to Sophia, I see she has submitted to a call. I can see what she has submitted to. And now you can start, you know, building upon this contact record like you would with any other artist that's part of your collection. So adding additional files, any additional information, you can put them in contact groups. So maybe you have a contact group for all of your local artists or all your female artists or all of your sculptors. Then you can manage all the artists that have submitted within your contacts feature. You can create collections for your shows. But exhibitions being the biggie, especially because, as many of you know, Artwork Archive can be your backend database, but you can easily publish your exhibitions, your artist profiles, your collection to the public profile or to your website. You can embed it onto your website. And so now by having all of those artworks, the exhibition in your collection management system, you can quickly make that exhibition public and you can embed it onto your website. And here's an example for those that may not be using the exhibitions tool or making it public. This is Children's Hospital Colorado's public profile. By clicking a few buttons on the back end, we have help docs. I have another webinar about making your collection public. You can bring your exhibition online. And so we have a carousel in which the multimedia, I'm clicking that really fast, I'm sorry everybody, can be viewed. The description, the artworks that were submitted. They sell their artworks and the artists donate back a percentage of the sale to the hospital. And so people can also inquire to purchase the artworks if that's part of your workflow, part of your experience. And then you can also view by the artists. They don't have an artist bio up here. They do in other areas, like within the artist section where all of their artists have their own profile. And so your artists will love this because they get another marketing point of discovery for people to find them when they are displaying and exhibiting with you. And so that's just a great example of, you know, what makes this feature unique. It's not just a standalone calls platform. It now is synced within your collection management system so that you will be able to quickly, easily manage everything in one place. And that was a big pain point that we heard. And so now it's here. And a few resources before we jump into the Q&A. We're here to help, whether it's for calls or for loans or for publishing to the web and getting your collection onto your website, we're here to help. And so we have an incredible help doc section, a lot of help docs about this calls feature that Helen put together. Helen is your go-to support person if you are interested in starting to use the calls for entry solution within Artwork Archive. She'll be there to help you along the way. We also have a blog and webinar recordings. This one will be recorded and published to our webinar page, free e-guides. And then for those that are new to us, and if you're interested in utilizing this, you can start a free trial. And you can also contact us at team@artworkarchive.com or on the site for a demo. We can dive into like your specific needs. This is general to give everyone a taste, but I'm happy to jump into your specific needs and how we can be of help. So I think it is now. It sounds like, Justin, you've been doing a great job answering questions that have been coming up.
I would not use the word great job. I think I have developed carpal tunnel just in this short presentation. So to everyone, I cannot tell you how happy we are that there's this much engagement and this many great questions. There have been, it looks like 154 questions answered and 42 remaining. So this is what's going to happen. We will certainly continue to answer these throughout the course of this and do our best to get back to each and every one of you. This is what I recommend. Elysian mentioned that there is we've got a wealth of resources on the site itself. And we also can arrange a private tour for those organizations that are looking for specific details or have specific questions for you guys. Normally during this time in a webinar, I'm able to kind of, cherry pick a group of themes. Given the fire hose nature of a lot of the things that have come in, I'm going to do my best, but I really want to say the entire team can much more thoughtfully answer these things over the course of the next days. You can email info, so info@artworkarchive.com. You can go to the website and there's a little chat icon in the bottom right. You can contact us there. And of course, and Helen, can you put the link in the chat for the Calendly sign up for the tours for the organizations? Note, this is just for, oh, you already did that, sorry. This is just for organizations looking for tours. This is not for individual artists with questions. Okay, some of the themes. We have had a ton of you ask, hey, I do these calls on a regular basis. Is this something that we can copy and replicate so we don't have to reinvent the wheel every time? The short answer is not right now, but given how many people have asked for it, this is already something that was on our radar in beta testing, and it's one of the first things that's going to be added there. A ton of you have asked, hey, we're a member organization and only want to be able to showcase this call to our member audience and no one else. So essentially the private listing of calls. That is not something you can do right this second, but given the fact that 24 people asked about it in the last 7 minutes, this is something that we will be doing in the future. Similarly, there are a lot of people asking about the ability to limit the number of uploads. So that is not something you can specify it in your eligibility requirements or your application requirements. But we don't currently have a blocker in the system that prevents them from going over that limit. So that's something we will talk with the team directly about. And, as I mentioned, when I was talking about the why with my kind of product evolution statement, our goal is to make this as useful to everyone as possible. I think we tend to, as an organization, prioritize things based on frequency of the request and percentage of the audience that it will impact. So there may be things that come up that are awesome ideas, but that only apply to a very edge case situation. We're trying to put out something that is going to serve the vast majority of you and really add value, especially considering that so many of you already use us for collection management, contact management, artist management, and all the other things to help your wonderful organizations kind of get organized, manage, and grow. So do not hesitate to send us direct notes about this feedback. There is a bunch of questions on the paid for and the fee related stuff. Helen, if you haven't, I can't see both the chat and the Q&A right now, but if you haven't, if you could post the help article that breaks down that fee and gives a specific example of the fee, I think that'll be helpful because we've got probably 10 or so in here already that are asking specifically about that. One other general theme, I'm seeing tons of questions about videos or video links. So certainly they can include hyperlinks to their videos. And if you're specifying additional files and they have those videos, they can attach them. What I think is going to end up happening is if we get enough of those requests specific to video, we will end up doing something like we do with the artist version of the platform that gives them the ability to associate their YouTube or Vimeo links with their artworks and have the ability to include that in the submission. That doesn't exist right now, but if it's something we continue to hear, we'll do that. Elysian, do you have access to the Q&A stuff?
Yeah, this is great. It's like a shopping list.
Judging be set to a limit specific. Yes, you choose how, like you can choose whether you're just doing this internally or whether you want to add external jurors. How do we download all the images and additional documents? So that, that's one of those things that you can either do on your own outside of the system, or if you're taking advantage of the platform, those will be housed within your organization's platform. And like all of our documents or attachments or images, there are options for exporting that into, or putting that into reports or downloading those individual assets.
Mm-hmm.
You want to jump in, Elysian, while I'm handling?
Yeah, I'm going from the bottom up. A great question about, have we seen organizations using this to post a call for performances, art activities, for an event or festival versus visual art? And so that actually relates to the fact that within Artwork Archive, as an artist or organization or collector, you can digitize and catalog any type of art. And so there are video links, and as Justin said, in a V2, being able to associate videos with. But if you're collecting that media from the artist, then yes, great, having that as a repository within Artwork Archive. Within the collection management side of things, you can attach, you can include YouTube and Vimeo links. You can upload audio files for spoken word, songs, oral histories. And so, yeah, it'd be great to see that utilized, beyond visual art. I also, Justin, to go back to the fees, a really good question that we can just kind of talk generally about is if they have a call that charges a fee, what platform do we use to process? And can they connect their own payment processor?
Got it. At this time, all of the fees are collected via Stripe. So the fees are processed, and then once the call ends, after a period is settled, that payment is distributed to the organization. In the event you're processing calls in your own, with your own processor, you could, of course, list that within the call or the eligibility requirements along with a link to process that. But we have no direct APIs or connections with third-party payment providers at this time. We happen to use Stripe. So basically all the credit cards are processed in Stripe. There's multiple payment options for the artists that are applying. That gets settled, and then those payments are distributed once the call, or a period after the call has ended.
What happens if an artist is already in your database? So good question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So when you have situations, for those of you that have been using us a long time, maybe use the artist upload feature. And by the way, super quick side note, because I know we're coming to time here. A lot of you for those of you who are familiar with us, you've probably used the artist upload feature, which is still an awesome way if you are only working with a small group of artists or artists that you've already worked with to get information in your system. It simplifies the email back and forth and the Dropbox and Google Drive and all that. So that is still an incredibly viable feature that we expect most organizations to continue to use. In the event you put on a call for entry and that artist is already in your system, we do a match via email. So assuming that they're using their main email to submit, if it's already in the system, it is going to match that call submission to that existing contact in your system. We've tried it with name recognition and stuff like that before, and there's just too many people with overlapping names. So email is that unique identifier in that case, and that's how we matched. Let's say you run into a situation where some artist does it, uses a different email, so you have a duplicate. We'll be coaching people on ways to help kind of connect those two in the future.
Yeah, I have another great artist question. Must an applicant artist have an artwork archive subscription to submit to a call? No. So
No.
great news. Any artist can submit. We have a submit only portal for them to easily submit to your call. But if they are an artwork archive artist, if they are an artist using artwork archive for their own art business, then it's even easier for them to apply to your call because they're selecting the artworks from their account and sending them over. And so it streamlines the process for them. Another thing about streamlining the process, a good question about, does the system communicate acceptance and rejections to the artist, or do you have to do that on your own? It is not automated because many of you all have different messaging that you give to your accepted and those that you are not accepting. And so when I clicked into that email artist, you'll be able to craft the message that you want to send to that audience. Just scrolling up there. Is it possible to select certain works to copy over? Right now, the filter is either all or accepted. If there is another filter that you would like to view, let us know. But that was the one that came top of mind when we were talking to organizations about what they want to bring into their collection management system. Justin.
I have a quick one that we're getting a bunch. This is something we've heard before. I can't guarantee that this is going to be happening in the next week or so, but certainly soon. We've gotten now enough people asking, are we able to turn the artist's name off? So essentially do some kind of like blind jurying option. We've had so many people ask that. That is, I would say, a 90% likelihood that when we do this first update iteration, that will be included in this.
And bravo to everyone who's coming in, because as Justin has mentioned many times, we're going to have a version update given the feedback we're getting. And so you're making sure that your needs are being met as we further fine tune.
Yeah, I can't reiterate enough. If you're not seeing an answer to your question, if we're not getting to it, because I see that there's still, it looks like 30 open. We don't get to it in the next 4 minutes, which I think is highly probable. Please email info@artworkarchive.com or go through the chat and we will cover it there. Well, I'm trying to see if there's anything else. There's a lot of, can we limit the number of work? You may have already just covered this, Lucian, so apologize, but remember how we, in our past calls that we've done, we segmented things. So, one jury pool sees this 100, one jury pool sees the next 100. It's like, segmenting the jury process. That's not something we've gotten a ton of requests for, but it's certainly on our radar to think through. I've got some ideas for workarounds on that in the meantime, for those of you who are needing that. Artists journals using an online platform. Okay, there's someone asking about, where do artists go for questions. So you guys are going to be listing yourselves as the primary contact for this. So chances are they're going to come to you. Typically though, when they're creating that submission only account, if they're having any troubles creating the account or uploading it or having any information, saving their information or applying, we've got a full team ready to provide support to those people to help facilitate that. Elysian, because I don't know the answer to this, if I answer these post-webinar, will they be sent to the people, or should we export a log? And okay, so for those of you who do not get answers to your questions, definitely follow up via email or chat so we can make sure we get this information to you.
Yeah, we'll have the Q&A, and our teammates are nicely recording what we have answered live. And so, yeah, a more expedient probably is just to ping these questions to us via chat. But we'll be going through these. I have let's see, we have 2 minutes. Justin, do we have an answer for this? What if a group is submitting to a single exhibit? How does this work with multiple artists?
I don't have a great answer for that. I mean, I think in situations like that, they would do something similar to what we already have in the existing system, where that group would create an account for themselves. In the description of that group, they have the names listed and the description of the group. So similar to how an artist does a bio, that particular submit only account would have a description of that group, and they'd be submitting on behalf of that group. So that's the best way to do that.
And without getting too much in the weeds, Kathy, if you do accept that work and then you copy it over into your artwork archive inventory, within object records, you can have multiple artists listed. And so you can add the additional names there as well. So you have record of it as you're working with the artwork in the group.
Britt, in particular, you have a lot of great questions. I suggest you schedule a tour, because we can cover most of those outside of that, outside of this. Some exhibitions. Someone asked, or there was a couple questions about release forms or anything like that, or acceptance of terms. So really quick answer to that is, in a situation where you want to have a specific release form that they have to, physically sign and include back, you can link to that. They can download it and then upload it via the additional files feature when they're submitting. But also, for those of you who are building information or specific language into terms, you will see that before an artist submits, there is this acceptance that says, by submitting, you confirm that you meet all eligibility requirements and accept the terms for this call. So that's, kind of a way to handle that as well, if you don't want to do it via an external form.
And we have hit time. For those that have stayed with us, a reminder that we have recorded this event. We will send out the recording. You'll get an email from me that will also have some helpful help docs that can help you navigate. When it comes to the chat and the Q&A, for privacy reasons, we can't share that out because it has people's names attached to it. But we will be using this Q&A definitely for future resources. So if you are not on our newsletter, definitely sign up for it. We can have a V2 of this presentation. I can be writing articles on this topic. There's a lot of education that can continue to be done. And again, as Justin and I have been mentioning, you can sign up for a demo of Artwork Archive, of our collection management system, to learn more about calls for entry and our other tools. Monday is President's Day. My son doesn't have school on Tuesday, so you may be getting this recording on Wednesday. So apologies for the wait, but we'll turn this around and get it out to everyone as quickly as possible. Thank you, Justin, and my teammates Helen and Anna, for supporting us on chat. Thank you to everyone for joining in and for your great questions. Justin, anything to add before we sign off?
No, I wish I was a faster typer and could have gotten to these more, but thank you. And we really appreciate you taking the time, and really are looking forward to hearing your feedback on how we can make this even better.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day and your week ahead. Bye now.